Alright, today we are going to be working on this Dell 3410 laptop. Problem is, she says it's not turning on, not charging, not doing anything. I'm going to see what I can do to get this guy going. First thing I did was open up the backside. I'm going to actually unplug the power from the battery and the BIOS battery, and then we're going to plug in the power and see what happens. First things first, there is no indication lights at all on the motherboard that anything's going on. Up there's a white light. Now we're looking to see if there was a little movement on the fan. If this white light stays on, now it's off. Now it is on. Little movement on the fan again. So we're just kind of stuck here in a little bit of a, looks like a boot loop, possibly. I'm gonna unplug this, and on these Dell motherboards, the best way to see if it's like anything involved with maybe like a BIOS issue or anything is to pull out the RAM, and then we're gonna plug this in again, and we're going to see what happens. Usually BIOS should give a flag of blinking 2 white lights and then 3 amber lights if BIOS is fully intact. Right now we're seeing the white light and then it's going off. Again, same thing, fan spinning, then it's stopping, white light, and it's going to stay on, it's going to go off. Right, so I'm seeing this fan, spinning, and the white light's coming on, white light's going off, and then the fan will start spinning again here. So it's like it's trying to start up, but it's kind of stuck. And we're just gonna, that white, since I took the RAM out, it should be giving me a amber blink code, but it is not doing that right now. That means that there's usually something wrong with the BIOS or with one of the power chips on this board. So we're going to set up and get this taken up, get the laptop motherboard taken out of the case here, and then we're going to do a little work on it. Alright, so we've plugged my multimeter in, we've plugged the board in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to check the BIOS chips here to see if they have power on them. So the first one is here, and I am not seeing, check that out, no, up there's a 3.3 volt, come on. I got the wrong contact, sorry. 3.37 volts. 3.38. Okay. And that is just that number 8 chip on the BIOS. Right, I'm going to check this chip. 3.37, 3.38. That looks okay. A little hot, but it should be okay. Both these chips have power. I'm just going to check the right side of this power bridge here. We're hopping up to 5 volt. Okay, not too far out of line. Then it's going to cut off once that board resets. Then it's going to, once that white light comes back on, it's going to go back up to 5 volts. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that white light right there if my multimeter's in the way. There it is. Right, so it should be on, should be pushing 5 volts. Yeah. Alright. This chip here should be 3. That looks about right. A little funky. That's okay. I'm getting both right voltage ranges. That means usually I'm going to have to reset these BIOS chips that are right here. And we'll get a nice good look at them. So what I'm doing is I'm just checking the voltage on this pin right here, on this BIOS chip, and then this pin right here on this BIOS chip, 3.37. So, yeah. I'm going to desolder those chips. I'm going to throw them in my programmer and see what it comes out as. Alright guys, well I've got my chips off and I'm over at my universal programmer right now. I've got an RT809H that I ordered from China. Used this guy for a long time to program these chips, and we'll plug one in. I know this little red strip goes at the bottom of the text on the chip. I don't have a good enough camera to zoom in on the chip to show you, but yeah, we'll plug that in and then we'll bring up the programmer here. Alright guys, here I am on my programmer computer. So I'm going to open up this little programming application that came with my programmer, and then we're going to get to town here. identify on the chip. You better read your Chinese there. Just click OK. It's going to automatically bring in the chip. I'm going to click read on this chip. What that's going to do is it's going to download everything that is on the chip and save a copy here, just in case. It downloaded it, and then it downloaded it again, verified that it was working properly. I'm going to go on my desktop. I made a new folder because that's my computer number. I'm going to save this chip. Right, and then what I've gone ahead and done is I've found some new builds for these BIOSes. We're just going to test them out and see if they work before anything else. So this is my 128 chip. I'm going to open the on my desktop, new builds. I'm going to open the 16 meg file because the 128 is the 16 meg one. Open it, and I'm going to just write it to the chip. So what it's going to do first is it's going to erase whatever's on that chip, and I've got a copy of it so we don't need to worry about it. And give it a go, and then it's going to start writing to that chip in just a second here. Auto erase. Okay, now we're just writing to that chip, and then once it is done writing, it's going to read back off that chip and verify that everything was successfully installed. Verification successful. I'm going to go ahead and get the next chip loaded up here. Alright, now that we got the next chip loaded into the thinger, I'm going to click identify again. It's going to say that's the 64 chip. Right, we just divide that by 8 and it'll tell us, you know, how many megs are on the chip. Again, I'm going to read this, and we're going to save a copy of what is currently on the chip, just in case we need it for later. Okay, there's that. I'm going to go into this folder that I have, save that. Right, I'm going to open up the 8 meg now, and then I will write that to the chip. Again, still going to erase, and then it will write, and then it will verify, and then we will get back to putting these chips on the board to see if they work. Alright guys, I am back. We are almost ready to get these chips put back on the board. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to put a little bit of flux down. I'm going to fix some of these pads down here. I took a little picture of them to give you a better look, but my camera is not that great. So I'm going to try and get probably as little flux as possible on here, just to get these pads good. So we're not spreading flux all over the place. But we're going to do a little cleanup too. So just a touch in there. I'm going to just take my soldering iron here. I'm going to put a little bit of solder right on the tip. There. And then we're just going to touch each of these pads and go. Make them look real nice. And the flux just helps the solder flow a little bit better. I'm going to clean up the spare that I've got here. I get this going. Get down there for the pad. Okay, wipe that off for now. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take a little cotton swabs, alcohol wipes. I'm going to clean up some of this extra flux here that's just chilling around. Not trying to get it off the actual pads, just trying to get it off the things that are around the pads. I had the first wipe with, or first end with just plain, so I can get it. This end I've got a little isopropyl alcohol on just to clean up a little bit better. What this is going to do is it's going to make it look real nice once it's all said and done. My biggest issue is these little chips right here next to our main BIOS chip. So once we have that all cleaned up, I'll get my iron back on. We're going to put these chips into place. Right? Just going to set them down. Make sure they look real nice. And then I'm going to touch each of the contacts. There. So, try and hold this chip into place for the first few. Alright, so we're going to touch. And I just moved the chip a little bit. Come on, man. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. Nope, I gotta move that chip a little bit more. That way. There we go. Okay, that looks good. Just gonna get them all pushed down in real nice there. Right, if I could get a better view, I would show you that when I have a nice press on there, it's gonna show me that flux get liquid. I'm going to do the other side of this chip. I should not need to hold it down anymore. The other ones are going to hold it. And try not to breathe this stuff in either. Alright, give a good press on each one of these. I have my little fan going. I like a real good hard press on each one of these, just to make sure it's not going to come up. Then again, we're going to do the same thing for this other chip. I'm going to hold it down on the first side that I press. Oh, and that's an issue, is when you start holding it down, it might want to move around. We got to get it back on these pads. Oh, come on, Chippy. A little bit more. It's probably the hardest thing to do, is make sure it's all lined up properly. Okay. Have her on. Press this down and hopefully it doesn't slide off. Oh, little bugger. Okay. Right like that. Press. think I might just have those pads a little high. Maybe I'll go for the other side first. My iron done turns itself off after a minute here where it's not detecting anything, so there's another part of my issue. Get on the dang pads. Alright, we're back heated up. There we go. Oh, I don't feel very well. Let's get this other side first. Hopefully it's held on enough. No. You little pain in the butt. Alright. There. Just put a little more right on the tip. Make sure we're okay. Get a good contact with this foot here. This one, and that one. Alright, let's turn it back around. Get that far side. Right, I should not need to hold the chip here, because those four on the other side should hold it, but see, it did want to move on me there. I don't think I left enough flux. It should still hold. Tap this one more time. Oh yeah, that's good. Then we're going to tap each one of these once more. These are strong. These I feel really good about. Okay. We are going to test this board to see if it turns on now. Oh. Alright guys, here's the moment of truth. I'm going to plug this in and see if it is working. So if I plug it in, I'm expecting to see this little white light turn white for a little bit, and then probably go out, and then start complaining. So we see it white. Oh, what did it say? White, white, white. amber, amber, white, 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 amber, amber. So that means I'm missing RAM, which obviously I didn't put the RAM back in. If I plug the RAM in here, right, and then it's going to complain that I'm missing video, which would be like, I think it's 2 ambers and 7 whites. I could put a screen in here too, just to show us. Plug this screen in, and then it's going to complain about a fan, so we can plug a fan in too. Plug the fan in, plug the screen in, and then we'll plug it in, and it should. First, we're looking for the white light here. Oop. Now we have the fan going here. Right, and we should see the screen pop on in 1 second. Actually, it'll probably take about 10 seconds for the screen to pop on. There it is. Look at that. We recovered this computer. Right? Right now it's mad because there's no BIOS or there's no settings or anything. It has to do a little reset. It's going to come up with manufacturing mode because that's what is loaded onto this BIOS. And I don't have a hard drive plugged in. It's going to be mad about that. It's looking for bootable things. So I'm going to unplug all this, get it plugged back into the computer, and then boot it up and see what we can do. I know a lot of people wear gloves when working on their computer, but I just don't. Just wash your hands. Make sure they're clean of all debris. Don't be chowing on your lunch around them. And that is why we wait until everything is screwed back together in order to plug anything in. So in case we do drop screws on the board, it's not going to hurt it. Alright kids, we have got this thing going. I'm going to put these little things back on. Just little protective guys. I'm going to plug in the BIOS battery first. Right, and then I'm going to plug in the actual battery. I'm going to plug this guy on top because that's where he belongs. Plastic. Alright, we're going to put this back together. Back on. Just that. Plug him in, boot him up. This specific BIOS that I got allows me to enter in the service tag number that's on the back of the computer here, right there. And from there I can, it's just like it's a brand new board. BIOS version will need to be updated once I get it going. But we should be good to go. Thanks for watching, guys.